Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Red Cartel on what is Friday, the 25th of April, 2025. This is the weekend that Liverpool fans have been loading up for. I am your host, Errol. This is Redmen 2. I have got a panel of cartelists in the building tonight. And I feel like me and Greg in particular, I feel like these guys will indulge me when I say this. Can we get a early guard of honor? Is it too soon to start popping the champs? Use man ready for it.
Guard of honor from who?
What do you mean from who? From you, man. From you, man. Give us, yeah. A little.
You haven't won it yet, though. You haven't won it yet, though.
Yeah, you haven't won it yet. We'll let Chelsea do the guard of honor, man. That's what they're there for. So
yeah, won it yet.
All right. So you aren't feeling the energy for guard of honor yet. We'll see how we feel towards the end of the show once we've had our discussions and conversations. But thank you again for joining us, lads. Got another great show loaded up for you tonight. We've got Raylex back in the building. We've got Jay from Fanzone TV back in the building. We've got Tezza in the building. Dan Potts from the 12th out of AFTV. Got a guest in Chic joining the cartel tonight, all the way from stateside over in Dallas in the building. And then we've got man like Greg in the cut as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know it is about to be a good show. But before we get started and get into it, please do make sure you drop a like. Follow my guys down here as well. They'll plug themselves throughout the show. And please do support, share the stream. Let's get it out there. Let's start the celebratory weekend on the right note. So, boom, we're in. Lads, how are we feeling? Does anybody care that Liverpool are about to win the Premier League, number 20? Anybody care?
I don't know why anybody wouldn't care, to be fair. So many people saying, don't give a damn, don't give a damn. Yeah, you do, man. Of course we do. It hurts.
Yeah,
most Arsenal fans thought we were going to be, man. So why people, I don't know, people just seem to be like, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Bizarre, man. Huh?
Yeah. Just don't lie, guys. I know you guys care. Do you know how I know you guys care? I was seeing videos on Twitter of United fans singing 13 times. And you're telling me that you guys don't care. You guys up here. I'm telling you right now.
Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to?
It is emotional damage.
Emotional
I know you guys
damage.
It is emotional damage. And I don't want to hear nothing else. I don't want to hear nothing else.
All I will say is, why was you not like this 6 weeks ago? You guys are a bit too late to the party, man. You won the league about 3 months ago. What's happening here?
That is true.
Wow.
No chest. No chest. Do you know what you've won the league? Congrats! Back in like
no. Do you know what we did? Do you know what we did?
No, we can celebrate.
You know what we did? Listen, no. You've asked the question. You're not letting me speak. You've asked the question. You're not letting me speak. You know what we did? You know what we did? We kept it humble. We kept it humble.
My brother, tell us.
You haven't. You haven't won. Firstly, you haven't won the league yet. You got to wait till Sunday if you win it. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if we win the Champions League, all your parading that might as well be cancelled.
Why? For what reason?
I'm just saying because no one's gonna be thinking about Liverpool winning the league if Arsenal win the Champions League.
Wow, that's a bold.
Focus on that. So focus on that.
I don't think that two things cannot coexist at once.
I do think they can, but I'm just matching your energy, innit?
You know what? Match energy when you get to the final. And I'm not saying that you won't. I'm just saying, wait. There's 180 minutes of football to play.
No. I'm just bantering. We're nowhere near winning it. Trust me. I'm not one of them. No way. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm not.
I do want to ask a genuine question, though, from obviously Arsenal fans as being our closest competitors in this particular league, and obviously United fans from more of a bit of a viewing distance of it all. Where was this league won and lost for Arne Slot's Liverpool? Anyone can answer.
When you beat Man City and we lost to West Ham.
No, I think it was before then.
You think so?
I think it was the weekend we won. No. I think it was the weekend we clutched up against Brentford, and then I think Arsenal went and drew to Villa. Back in
not quite, because even then,
switch away.
No, I don't think so. I think because we were still looking at it like we
Switch
still
away.
got. No, we were still looking at it like we still got to play you. That's how we were still seeing it. Like we still got to play you, and it was not in our hands, but we can still swing the balance. I think it was more when you beat Man City, because obviously we played first, didn't we? And then you guys went on and beat Man City. So I think it was probably that was more the nail in the coffin to me, anyway.
I mean, for me personally, I made a YouTube video on it, and I said after that week when we beat Brentford and you used to do Sevilla, I said for me, if we go on to win the league, that will be the weekend where we won it. So I think ultimately that was if there was ever going to be a chance for Arsenal to capitalise on a poor Liverpool performance, obviously we didn't drop points, but on a game where we just got over the edge, it was your time then, and that weekend to not only get over the edge, get the 3 points, but to just batter the team in front of you and show, look, Liverpool, we're still here. But you didn't. I think
agree.
ultimately it was that weekend. It was that weekend where I think
going into the season again, I've got these lads kind of views of where they expected Liverpool to be and stuff like that. From a United perspective, obviously you're overseas, you're not as in the thick of the eye of the storm, so to speak. Did you think there would be such a drop off from Jurgen Klopp leaving into Arne Slot taking over the reins? Did you expect Liverpool to be in this position yourself, bro?
Not really, to be honest. Obviously, considering the fact that you haven't really made a lot of signings going into the season, although you still did have the squad like there to challenge. I didn't necessarily. I didn't have Liverpool winning. I didn't even have Arsenal winning. I thought Man City would win again, which is another painful thing to go through that I didn't have to happily. But yeah, like I didn't have Liverpool really. Like I had them challenging, but I didn't think that they would go on. Obviously, I didn't think Salah would go on the heights that he did this season with the amount of GNA that he's produced. Arsenal, they to answer your question that you asked earlier in terms of where I thought you guys won the league. I thought you guys won the league when they started picking up some of those injuries, when Bukayo Saka got injured, when Odegaard was out for a couple of months in the season. Those things matter a lot, and I think that's where you guys pretty much took over.
Do you genuinely rule it down to the injuries though, or was it Liverpool's form, or was it that kind of gave Liverpool the incentive?
Yeah, not undermining Liverpool's form at all, but I think that's where, like, obviously losing out some of your better players, also trying to stay close in the race to Liverpool, that does affect you to a big thing. And I'm not saying that Arsenal lost just because they had a lot of injuries or whatever. They should have gone out and thought about all these type of things in the window. Then
they still had January to address that.
To address it as well. Exactly. They still had January to address as well. So. Yeah, it was one of those things where, I mean, Liverpool, like, whether, they are rivals, of course, but I'm going to just sit here and be real that, yeah, you guys fully deserve to win this league. You guys have been the best team from the start of the season. You guys have shown it with some of the players that have improved, like Gravenberch, who we didn't really think was going to have the season that he had. And now some people can argue that he's like one of the most improved players in the league. Same thing for Salah, like I said. The GNA numbers that he's had this season have been unbelievable. So, it's one of those type of things where a lot of people probably didn't have Liverpool winning the league, but that doesn't undermine the fact that, because people are not talking about Liverpool and all that type of stuff, that this league doesn't really matter to them or to other fans, or people don't really care about it. Liverpool deserve this league. And I'll be the first to tell you this, that they 100% deserve this league. And it sucks that as a United fan, we've seen our rivals win leagues left and right, and we've had just no part in it. We're sitting in 14th, just watching all our rivals laugh over us, beat us, match the 20 league titles, all of that type of stuff. And we just had no say in it. So Liverpool deserved the league. I didn't have them winning at the start of the season, but they've shown it. And you have a spine of these players like Van Dijk, Salah, Alisson, who, we consider one of the best goalkeepers in the world. Van Dijk, same thing with center backs. You were expecting a title challenge, but then you made that push, and that's up to credit to Arne Slot as well. No signings this season. Going into, no massive big signings going into the season, and he's won a league. So it's like, definitely have to applaud it. But that's what I would say to that, is that credit to you guys, man. You guys are the best team in the league. And I don't know if United fans are sitting here, being salty and stuff about it. You got to be real. Like, you guys deserve to win this league. So
I'll ask Raylex for your thoughts on that. Do Liverpool deserve this league title, brother? You're proudly wearing your Man United top today. I need to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Liverpool have been the most consistent team in the Prem this season, and it shows. They're first, and they've got the most amount of points. It's not rocket science. I feel like to back up Sheik's point. I don't think I did. I personally didn't think that they would challenge this year as well. When you lose a big figure in like Klopp, I was comparing it to Sir Alex when we lost Sir Alex, but I feel like the difference is that Sir Alex left us with a squad that was aging, and the difference and Slot still had his span of Virgil, Salah, Alisson. You only brought in one player. What is it?
I think that was the mistake that all the rivals made. They wanted to cling on to the Wenger, the Sir Alex Ferguson comparison, but what they fail to want to recognise, probably because they're not as close to it as Liverpool fans are, is the health and condition of our club at that time is night and day. The comparison of what Arsene Wenger and Alex Ferguson left their respective clubs. And I think that's where we've had that undercurrent of opportunity, and Slot's been able to work with it, as opposed to the managers that came in after those that I've just mentioned were basically there to firefight. There were situations that were massive, that were out of their control, that they couldn't get a full grip on. And it was never geared up for success. But subtly, Liverpool have had all of the right foundations in order to give the springboard, if so Slot was capable of showing he's got that level of managerial experience to be able to deliver a league title. I think it's interesting. There's a lot of speculation that the league is of the worst quality it's been for a while. I don't particularly agree with that. Dan Potts, what are your thoughts on the condition of this league? You do shows with fans from all of the big clubs to all of, no, I don't even say, the little clubs as well, with small representation in terms of obviously putting themselves out there and getting up the table. But you speak to fans all over. What is it? What's made this league different this year?
So I think there's two things to answer there. I think the first thing is, where did it go wrong for Arsenal? Where did it go right for Liverpool? Liverpool have maintained, and that's massive respect to Arne Slot, in my opinion. He's kind of, I'm a huge fan of Jurgen Klopp and what he did, but he's kind of little broed him, really, hasn't he? Come in and gone, this is quite easy. What was so hard? He did 1 in 9. I've done 1 in 1. And that's massive respect to Arne Slot for how he's done that, man. It's crazy. The other thing I think is to say as well, where was it?
Love that subtle little dig. I don't want it that.
Yeah, man, it's tongue in cheek.
Wasn't lost on me, bro. Wasn't lost on me.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Klopp, so I can't even. It's tongue in cheek because I think he's class. But I think when you look at it, like for me, you ask where it was won and lost. I said we'd lost the league on the 1st of September when we signed Raheem Sterling. I'm like, nope, that's me done.
I didn't. Greg, he did.
That's me
stuck
done.
He stuck by it from then.
Arsenal ain't winning shit this year when we're signing players like that. So we're done and dusted. And hopefully I'm wrong and we win the Champions League. But, if we don't win the Champions League, unfortunately, I'm right again. And this club just ain't got the ambition to get across the line when you're signing players like that. And then when
could you have salvaged your season? Could you have salvaged?
Well, this is where I'm coming to. Because when Saka goes down on the 21st of December, I'm like, crikey, that's a nightmare. But thank God he's gone down now, because January, it will save us. Nah, our club do what I expect us to do, and that's absolutely nothing at all. So I'm like, well, Liverpool have won the league then. We're done. We'll tap out. Let's see what trophies we can win. 2 weeks later, we go out of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and I'm like, nah, tap me out, man, because we ain't winning the Champions League. Now we're in the semi-finals, and if I'm honest, we've got a chance. Everyone's got a chance in that competition. All 4 teams have. Probably Barcelona and Inter Milan over that side. People are saying whoever wins that game have won it, but I don't think you could look at Arsenal or PSG and say they ain't got a chance either. So I think we've got a great chance. I think all 4 teams have. And I need to see a summer that is nothing like the one we had, because to sign Marino, Calafiori and Sterling and think you're going to win the league, I don't know what they were smoking over there, but it clearly weren't too clever from them lot over there, right? So that's where I'm at with Arsenal as a club and as an ownership. And that's not even on Mikel. That's just on the ownership and the board. Just absolute craziness, in my opinion. But anyway, that's where I'll say it's won and lost. In terms of the quality of the league, I have a lot of debate with people about this. I was on the show with Mo and Assam not too long ago, and they were saying they think it's top quality. I think the quality across Europe is absolutely dead. I've got to be honest with you. I think it's completely dropped. I look at the state of the Premier League and I think, wow, like Ollie Watkins is one of the best strikers in the Premier League. Crikey. I mean, Ian Wright and Andy Cole couldn't even get in the England squad. Now we've got Harry Kane and now it's him. Like, he's the next one. Ollie Watkins, who's getting kept out by Marcus Rashford. That's how bad the league has got, in my opinion. I'm not saying that does not mean that Liverpool deserve to win the league. And this is where Liverpool fans don't like it when I say this. Liverpool clearly deserve to win the league. By far the best team in the league. It's probably more competitive than it ever has been, if that's a good thing or not. But I think the actual individual quality is bad, if I'm honest with you. I was doing a show with Curtis earlier. We were talking about our left-hand side, saying who would we like? And I just looked at transfer market and I'm like, Vinny Jr., cool, he's most valued left winger. Do you know who the next most valued left winger is? Your guy, Luis Diaz. Really? Are we saying that he's one of the most valued left wingers? And then we go down the list and it gets towards the Kvaratskhelia, who, by the way, I think his level's on Luis Diaz anyway.
I was going to say,
and then it goes from there, you know? So
he's him.
Down. I'm thinking, is this really where we've got to across Europe? And I look at the 2000s and the 90s and I'm thinking, I'm very lucky, you know, I was spoiled when I grew up in that time. But we're looking at left wingers back then, like Rui Costa and like Pavel Nedved, and we're talking about Del Piero. That's before you even get to the Giggs and Perez's of that time in the Premier League. Absolute levels. And now we're looking at like the left wingers, even in Premier League at that time. And you look at the Gareth Bales and Eden Hazards and David Silvers and Perez and Giggs. And now it's like Martinelli, Mitoma, Diaz. What's happened, man? Where's it all gone, bruv? It's just the quality's not there, man. I think it's clear when you look at it like that. In terms of the competitiveness, you can whack on and see Bournemouth versus Brighton and look at a 3-2 thriller. I don't know that you could do that against Stoke and Hull maybe 10 years ago. But I don't know if that's made it better of quality. I just think it's more competitiveness. But that's just me. But then when people hear me say that, they're like, he's just bitter because he's Arsenal and they didn't win the league. I didn't think we were going to win the league. I don't rate the manager and the ownership to that level to think we've got what it takes to get us across the line. But for me, I just think the league is done and dusted. Would I give a shit if I was Liverpool? Absolutely not.
The reason why, bro, and I don't know if Greg feels the same, but I have wanted when we won it the first time, I had already scripted how it had to be done because we've been so close with City and been going like band for band with City and falling up short. It was like the only way we're going to do it. I'd reference Chelsea, the way Chelsea had in a couple of leagues where by Christmas it was done. Everybody accepted that Chelsea were the superior side that season and said, all right, we'll look for next season then because we're not going to catch this Chelsea team. I said Liverpool have to do that to get it over the line and get the monkey off our back. If we can do that, then there's an opportunity for us to be able to then hopefully go into a title race with the lived experience of winning and be able to go again towards another league title. This year, I've said, do you know what I've enjoyed more than anything else? I used to watch Man United and not have to get to 90 points and be absolutely brilliant at times in league campaigns. They won it easy because they was the most consistent team and he was the one that was on it, turned up professional, on job every single week, more often than not, and knew what it took to win. And from my perspective, I'm sitting here now looking, thinking, I've waited years to win it easy. I've waited, and that's no disrespect on Arsenal, what Arsenal have done. I think that's probably what I've said to you in a couple of times, Potts, on previous shows, where I want the other teams to scrap and take the points off the likes of a City, off the likes of an Arsenal, off potentially a Liverpool, so it becomes a lot more competitive and you don't need to have those ungodly heights of 95 points to win your league. The fact that I've actually now got a lived experience of being that close to doing it, that to me means I do not give a flying fuck for anybody else because I've waited my entire life to win a league easy and I am this close. Tezza, what are you telling me? Again, another Man United perspective on it. You're going to be in the City, lad. You can't avoid it. You haven't got the luxury of Sheik, who's going to be thousands of miles away and can turn off YouTube and all the rest of it. You got to go to work with your colleagues. You're going to have to bump into me at some point. There's going to be a whole bag of man there that you can't avoid because you are in ground zero. How do you see it impacting the City? How do you see it from a Man United's perspective?
Well, I mean, obviously Liverpool this season, as you mentioned, have been the most consistent and they probably deserved champions of winning the league. I mean, they haven't been spectacular, but I'd say they've been, as you mentioned, professional, and they've always gone into every game looking to win. Whereas I feel when you asked the question before, how or why, where did Liverpool win it versus Arsenal, I think what Arteta didn't do, which I think is for the first time in 3 years, he's gone into certain games not wanting to lose rather than trying to win. And I think especially when he had the period when there was no Odegaard and, you know, he played Trossard up front in that kind of 4-4-2 kind of thing with Havertz, I think it was a lot more pragmatic. He kind of understood that. Yes,
the style changed. The style changed massively at the start of the season for Arsenal.
Yeah, it was a lot more dogged and a lot more. I think in Arteta's mind, both years he's come this close to winning it. City have had the edge, so he developed a strategy, set pieces. That's going to be our equalizer to not having this number 9 who's going to score us an extra 15 goals. We're going to do that through set pieces. And I was looking at the stats before. Match week 8, Liverpool were 4 points ahead. By match week 10, it was 7 points. And I think that gap, once it got to that gap, it was too much for Arsenal to kind of claw back, because Liverpool never really looked like they were going to go and lose 3 games in a row. And I think then that then becomes a bit of a psychological battle to know that realistically for Arsenal to win the league, they'll probably have to win every single game. Funnily enough, at that point, though, City were only 2 points behind. So Liverpool were 25 points, 10 games played, and City were 23 points. Forest were 19, Chelsea were 18, and Arsenal were 18, and Villa were joint 18. So Arsenal were really dragged into a top 4 race after 10 games, rather than we're going to be in the top 2, which kind of flipped the whole script. And then to Dan's point as well, the not going out for someone who's going to get them the extra 10, 15 goals in January just kind of sealed it to say, we're not going to really push for the second half of the season. We're just going to bank on Saka coming back, and then to compound that, then Jesus and Havertz were then both injured for the rest of the season. So it kind of...
You've been unlucky in that sense, but I can't have too much sympathy, because I think football fans are fickle, if I'm being honest with you, because the sympathy that I'm not saying that Arsenal fans around the table want, but some Arsenal fans want this level of sympathy as if they haven't watched Liverpool fall away from title races because of having wholesale injuries. And they never once said, you know what, fair play to Liverpool, because they do give a good account of themselves. But if they wouldn't have had a bag of injuries to Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez, they're playing Henderson and Fabinho in defence, they got no midfielders, they might have actually, there's never that consideration. As soon as the shoe's on the other foot, you want to then cry about the situation that they're in. And I just find that difficult for as a Liverpool fan then to say, well, you didn't care for us, so why should we care for you? I seen just Poet said on Twitter the other day, 13 draws is mad. People are going on like we couldn't win the league, but that's one more draw than we got in our invincible season. I have always said that draws will kill your title ambitions quicker than you can think of it. And I think that is the case. That amount of draws is far too many. If you mentioned before, Jay, about going to the Champions League and winning it, if you don't win it, what can you do next season to avoid the same amount of draws to be in a title race as opposed to a top 4 race?
It's a funny thing you say that, because I was having a conversation recently. It's kind of like, it's a bit tricky, because when we played Man City, like for example, if you play Man City and you play Tottenham, you might say 2 draws, for example, you haven't lost, so it's a positive result. But then if you lose one and win one, you get more points. So you're better off losing to Tottenham and beating Man City more so than drawing both, technically. You know what I'm saying? And that's probably where it comes to Arsenal. We've kind of gone into games and kind of both wanted to make sure we weren't losing games, like he said, and that's what it comes down to. But in regards to the point before, when you said about like the standard of the league. The standard of the league is completely different, because higher level managers all around the world are taking lower level clubs just to get to the Premier League. So it's equalized the level of the managers and the teams. So there's arguably some of the managers in the lower level clubs are better than some of the managers in the top level clubs. You can't, like Arteta, Amorim, and some of the lower level managers.
Slot's not a big name, by the way. Slot is not a big name. I think if I would have offered 12 months back, if we reverse the clock, if I would have offered all of us, Dan, you've been saying Arteta out for a minute anyway. If I'd have offered you, it's only going to be Slot to come and replace him. I don't know if you'd have took the plunge.
Exactly. And even if, for example, if you look at it like if Slot was available and there was only say Crystal Palace available, he might be Crystal Palace manager now. Or he might be Aston Villa manager or something like that. That's where the equalizer is, because the lower level clubs have got real top level managers. Like these are the best managers all around the world, all of them. So I feel like that's the equalizer, and you got to find a little gaps to try and make up the gap between Arsenal and Liverpool. And we have to find a way next season. We have to find a way to close that, because if we don't close the gap to Liverpool immediately, the gap will be close to us. Teams like Newcastle, teams like Aston Villa, these teams now, Chelsea, these teams, they will overtake you. Newcastle will just overtake you immediately. If you don't,
to that point as well, on the quality of the league, that's where I think the quality of the league is probably looked at in the wrong way. I think your point that you said, the lower teams or teams historically who would have been lower down have got better managers, but they've also got better individual players, because if you look at probably every team from 8 to almost 14, there's probably 2 or 3 of those who you'd say they'll start for Liverpool, they'll start for United, they'll start for Chelsea, they'll start for Villa, they'll start for City. It never used to be like that.
So everyone will start for United.
One player for every team outside the bottom
three. Yeah, I agree.
I'd say there's at least one player from every team outside the bottom 3 where you could say they'd get into Liverpool's, maybe not title starting 11, but definitely like into a place where they'd be getting on as a sub, play maybe a few cup games, maybe start an odd game here or there.
To be fair, even the bottom 3
from every.
I think there's more than that. I think there's some
who
generally go in and start and become Liverpool's like key players.
It's never ever been like that. It's never been like that.
Wolves or something. I'd say Wolves starts comfortably starts.
I agree.
I think for at least 4 out of 5 Champions League spot teams.
You know what? Yeah, it's never ever been like that all through the years where the lower level clubs, where you would look where the top teams. If you look at now, Kudos, Delap, Cunha, all of these guys, everyone's looking at these players like, yeah, we need them to start. I've never known
Wharton,
I've never known a league where you look at the bottom level, the bottom clubs and think
that's why it's so much more competitive, though, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. Because you look at the competitiveness now, like people want Liam Delap at Ipswich, people want El Canous from Leicester, people want Tyler Diblin from Southampton, because it's so competitive now. Everyone kind of wants one of the players from each. Kudus at West Ham, Wolves, you've mentioned Cunha. Look at Forest. I mean, crikey, they've got unbelievable amounts of players now. They're in the Champions League. You're thinking, I wouldn't have really rated most of their 11, but now I'm looking at it. Oh, that's crazy. Like Milenkovic and Murillo have been one of the best partnerships at the back alongside Liverpool and Arsenal's, you know what I'm saying? So, it's a lot more competitive now. But I look at the quality and I'm not sure that it's the same as what it was, to be fair.
No, it's not the same. It's not the same.
Yeah,
it's not the same. But they've got
attackers aren't as good. I think that's the issue.
But you know what they also do as well? You've got like the teams now. When you look, like the teams they don't need to sell their players anymore. So if you're looking at teams like Isaac, a player like Isaac, he probably won't leave. Let alone before you'd be like, yeah, he's definitely leaving this summer, and it's guaranteed he's going to want to go to a top team. Now you're looking at it like, why would I leave Newcastle? They are almost a top team now. Why would you be leaving?
Not even just that, but your point there is like maybe if Newcastle were a team where, you know, they could maybe get the 120 million for Isak and then use it to regenerate their squad even more in the Champions League. They'd probably be like, go ahead, Liverpool or Arsenal, 120 million is yours. Now they don't have to because they've got the Saudi backing. Do you know what I mean? So it's
as well as, But I'm talking about in terms of like, I'm talking about from the player point of view. Normally the players will be like, yeah, I want to go to the other clubs because they're definitely the bigger clubs and they've got the better chance of winning the league. But really and truly, if Newcastle get a few good signings this summer, why have they got a better chance? Why have Arsenal got a better chance than that Newcastle of challenging for the title? You know what I'm saying? Because Newcastle, if they get a few right signings, they got a good squad depth. They got a manager that clearly has won trophy now. They've got over that line. Why would Isaac be looking at it like we can't compete for the title? It's the balance has shifted, and that's what I think that's what it is. The balance has shifted completely. Bournemouth and all these teams, they're all competing. If you look at Bournemouth, look at Man United and Tottenham are 15th and 16th. And teams like Nottingham Forest are competing for Champions League. You've got Bournemouth and that are looking at Europa League, Fulham. Like, they don't need to be leaving to go to another club, because it's not even guaranteed that those other clubs are where they're meant to be. So it's the balance has shifted, I feel.
I think that it's been a massive shift, and I think that a lot of people, and I put this out on Twitter the other day, a lot of people will be very quick to say, yo, my team could be in transition this season. So even as a Liverpool fan, that was my stance at the start of the season. I don't know what's going to happen with Slot. We haven't really done a lot of business. He's going to clearly have to take a bit of time to figure out the players that he trusts and wants to keep to them before he starts to build on it. It could be a transition season, and I think the concept of that sits well. Outside of being competitive in the midst of title runs and whatever, most people get that because their clubs have been through transitions. But I don't think people are quick to want to look at the fact that the league itself can have a level of transition as well. And what I mean by that is Arsenal have been close now for 2 seasons and not got it over the line. But most level-headed fans across the board will say Arsenal are still going to be there next season. Whether you like him or not, Potts, I can't see Arteta's level dropping off a cliff while he's got this young crop of players that are all bought into the idea. So that means Arsenal, from going from that club that were nearly missing out on Europe more often than not for a good number of years, they've now re-established themselves. So it's not like a transition. You have now fixed yourself into that position. City have tailed off and have to do the rebuild, losing De Bruyne. They are going to be in a little bit of flux, in a little bit of transition. United, mad amount of wholesale changes that's happened in that club in the last 18 months. They're in a position of transition. Spurs, the same. Chelsea still can't figure it out, even with all the money that's been spent. I think that the established order has transitioned en masse, while the underbelly clubs, where most people think, we don't really need to watch them, have also now transitioned and blossomed and evolved themselves. So you've now got these two retracting and protracting forces that no longer is what was the status quo and what people have come to expect from the Premier League. And I think that's where a lot of the confusion or the dissatisfaction comes from, because teams like Chelsea or fans from Chelsea should be thinking, why can we not just go and continue to spend the money, get the right players, and just fix all of our problems? Newcastle have done it, or Forest have went and done it. But they've got, as you said before, the managers are in the right place. They're good quality managers, good coaching setups. Then they've got the money and the funds because of the Premier League to go and buy the players that they want. They've now transitioned into what would be very, very good teams in other leagues without a shadow of a doubt. And I just think that's I think until next year or the year after, I don't think people are going to get used to it, because I don't think United could bounce straight back. Spurs could bounce straight back. I think Arsenal will stay there. City's not guaranteed. Liverpool are going to be in another transition on top of being successful. I think there's been so many moving parts that nobody really knows how to take stock of where the level.
It's going to be the biggest summer, Errol, in a long time, bro.
Yeah,
like, it's going to be the biggest spending summer. Man United, they're going to go mad. Newcastle, they're going mental. They ain't spent for 4 windows, by the way. Chelsea, we know what they're going to do. Spend. That's all they ever do. Arsenal are going to have a huge summer. Liverpool are going to have to, whether FSG like it or not, they're going to have to go and put their hands in their pocket, because you've got to compete and keep up with what everyone else is going to do. Man City, expect them to spend another 300 mil, because that's what they'll do. So I think it's going to go mad. I think it's going to go mad, if I'm honest with you. I really do.
Definitely.
From a Manchester United perspective, because Arsenal and Liverpool are pretty close to one another. From a Manchester United perspective, lads, relax. Is it going to be Amorim? And what is needed come the summer to re-establish yourself back in the big 6 by league position, not just by name?
Yeah, I think it will be Amorim. I think Ineos will stick with him. In terms of what we do need in the summer, I feel like we've been linked with Cunha and Delap. Those are two good signings in my opinion. I'm not sure what Tez and Sheik think, but I feel like in terms of Amorim's system, they fit quite perfectly. I think Delap, there is a bit of discourse around him because he's another young striker. We've already got Xerxes, we've already got Hjlund, and Man United fans have been quite scarred because with young strikers they need to take their time, you need to develop them. And we've seen with Hjlund, actually their development's been stagnated. They haven't really pulled up any trees so far. But I feel like with the lap, he's a different profile. I thought I really like him to score 12 goals in your first season and for a relegation team in like Ipswich is very good. And it's not just the goals, it's the way he plays. I feel like he gets his team up the pitch. You could say by logic, by nature, if he comes to a team like United, he should get more chances. He should get more opportunities to back and to play well. So I feel like that could be a good signing. And in terms of Cunha, we have that left-hand spot that Amorim plays with in that front three. I think everyone knows our attack is dire. It's not very good at all. And you've got players like Garnacho playing in that 10. He's not 10. He doesn't occupy those spaces. He's more of a winger. So I feel like if we can get them to like Cunha at the lap, that can play in that 10, that instantly takes us up a level. We also do need other positions. I'll say we need another 2 centre backs, midfield, especially in midfield as well. You know, we have Ugarte, Casemiro's on his last leg. So I think like you said, I think we will be Amorim, of course, and in order for us to get back to a respectable position, we do need a lot of surgery because, like you can see, we're 15th, 14th. I know we're in the Europa League semi-finals.
That's what I was going to say. Do you see a way where a Weldon you will scam your way back into the Champions League through the Europa League this season, and that can be a big enough paper over the cracks for you?
I think.
Yeah, go on, Rex, you go.
I think. Look, Man United, we've never been the greatest team in terms of cup competitions, but we somehow scam our way through. I don't know how. I don't know what it is. It's just the nature of our club. You know, you just saw the
crazy.
Yeah, well, unbeaten, and we're actually unbeaten. But if you saw the last game against Lyon, we did not deserve to go through at all. I don't know what you think, but we was actually taking all the headlights away from it. It was actually not good. So, but we somehow just know how to get over the line. In terms of that, I feel like we can win the Europa League. We got Bilbao. Obviously, the first leg is there, and I know that they're very good in their league. They've conceded the least amount of goals in La Liga, and they're very solid and stuff like that. But I do think that we can go back to the second leg and get the job done. But at the same time, that's still like it won't paper over the cracks because that's in a cup competition. We know in cup competitions you don't need to be good. In the league is our bread and butter. In a 38-game season, you need to be consistent. So yeah, that's just my opinion.
I think that, you know what? Yeah, funny. Sorry to cut in, bro. I think you see with Man United, I find it so strange how it's like they're gliding through. Because what I don't understand is if you take away all the ifs and the buts and the tactics and the half spaces and all of that, if you take all of that away, yeah, and all the describing what is going on, you just look at it plain and simple and black and white. Amorim and Man United, he's losing too many games. It's as simple as that. Like there's no ins and outs of it. He's 14th, 15th. He's losing far too many games. So if, for example, he goes into the Europa League and he doesn't win it, for example, then I'm not quite sure where this optimism about Amorim is actually coming from, unless it's just coming from the fact that they feel like they're in a process of getting back to the top. I don't know if it's just like one of those things of maybe or hopefully he hasn't had enough time and one of those things. But if you take away all of that, he's lost far too many games. He loses every week and he gets outplayed. Even against Lyon, he had 10 men and they were getting outplayed. And I'm trying to figure out what it is that Man United fans are looking at to say, yeah, like that Amorim this and Amorim. I want to ask the Man United fans like what they actually feel about that, because
I have to say I agree with you, D. I don't really get the whole he's definitely the guy. We don't know that he is yet. Like, it gets to October to me. If it gets to October and you're floating around 9th and 10th, I'm like, get rid. You got to go and get someone else in, because as much as I don't rate a lot of your squad,
but they're going to back. But that's such a danger, because they are going to change their style so dramatically and go and try and back him in the. I imagine in the summer with players that are going to fit his system. If they still don't hit the ground running and get to that October stage and then axe him, the next manager's then picking up a load of players that might not fit his system, and it's rinse and repeat. Well, I don't know. Maybe that's just again my.
Yeah, but he's playing a system though. Yeah, he's playing a system. to train for these players that he's getting rid of anyway. So there's not that system thing's not an excuse to me, because you got to embed you got to put your system in place. Of course you do, but you're putting your system in place to players that you're trying to get rid of anyway. So
yeah,
you're losing.
I think
Yeah,
Amorim's got a lot. He's getting away with a lot and has got away with a lot simply because he's somehow manufactured a situation where people have sympathy for him, because he's come in November and he created the narrative of, I wanted to come in at the end of the season, you know, I need X amount of players. The board didn't let me join in the summertime. We're gonna struggle. It's gonna be really bad. He's already, he's almost like foresighted. We're gonna be terrible, and people have understood that, and because of that, they're like, yeah, well, he needs his players, this and that. But I agree, you can't necessarily just continue losing every other
yeah, but
week.
you know what I was gonna say though. You see, with like for example, Slot, like you can see that he got the Gravenberch thing going. So you can say, okay, at least he got that going. Or Arteta, you might say he stumbled across Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back or something like that. With Amorim, I haven't seen one thing that I'll think, even if you stumble by accident or you've worked on that, I'll say, yeah, that one there, that's that you've made that work.
Yeah.
There's not one thing that I can see. Like Ahmad plays right 10 more minutes now, then he's playing wing back. Dalot plays left wing back, then he's playing right wing back. Garnacho's playing terribly. Mainu's playing in the 10, then he's playing in the deeper position. Bruno's playing in both. Hjlund is 1 minute, and it's 1 minute.
The only thing I can kind of say about Amorim to kind of give him any kind of blight or bit of defense is United genuinely have a bottom 3 attack in the league. Like this is not even banter. Like if you take,
do they though?
If you compare, okay, let me just do this exercise really quickly.
Yeah,
right. Hjlund, Paul Onuachu, Liam Delap, rank them.
No, but Hjlund was a 70 million pound striker. Why are you ranking him now and not before?
Based on the season, Paul Onuachu, Rasmus Hjlund, Liam Delap, who you taking? Joshua Zirkzee, Tyler Dibling, Matthias Cunha, who you taking?
No, but you can say that. You can say that for a lot of teams, though. You can say that for a lot of teams.
That they're on toe to toe, and United.
But so's Martinelli and Havertz, though.
Yeah, but Havertz and Martinelli will play for a majority of teams in the league. If we're being serious, they are of a better level quality wise, and even if they're not putting the ball in the back of the net, their all-round game is better than what United have. If United have Havertz and Martinelli, I'm sure we're about 4 places higher, and I don't. Really
No, I don't think so.
No, our attack is dreadful. We've scored 38 goals this season. 38 goals.
I think as an
38 goals.
Don't bullshit.
No, I'm not.
He's right.
We've scored 38 goals this season.
Exactly. And you watch the amount of misses that players like Garnacho.
That's what I'm saying. Like a lot of people don't actually know like these stats. Like some of these stats are absolutely insane. I checked a couple of weeks ago. Garnacho had a 5.9 shot conversion rate.
Yeah.
Like these guys have scored 2 goals in 20 games. Like Rasmus Hjlund has had 9 shots on target this season when he started 19 games in the Premier League.
You're taking the piss.
No, I'm being absolutely serious. Absolutely serious.
Scored that goal against Liverpool. He had more goals in the league than Hjlund at that point.
Yeah,
because then he scored the win against Fulham, and he had 3, and Hjlund had 2. So that's the level that.
That's what we're dealing with.
That's not their level. That's not their level. That doesn't make it their level, though. That doesn't mean that's the level that's not their level, though, is it?
Yeah, but I'm talking about the level of their performance that we've seen. I'm not going to compare it to previous. We can only go off the level that they've shown, and the level over a 15-20 game period of Hjlund is 1 goal every 9.5 games. So regardless of whatever Amorim does, he has a striker that is only going to score 2 goals in 20 games. It's difficult. It's very difficult. If you had Hjlund playing for Arsenal, you would see the intricacies of what he lacks, and he lacks a lot. Yes, he put the ball in the goal 10 times last season, but six of those goals came in a 7-game spell. So if you take it holistically, he scored 75% of his goals in 10 games. So when you extrapolate that and put it across the season, this is not like something too far out of stretch. When he was at Atalanta, he only scored 13 goals or 12 goals in all competitions, 44 games. and he only became a starter from January onwards. So,
yeah, but those stats suit your argument for this, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. Those stats suit your argument to say that he's not as good. You know what I'm saying?
But my whole point is that he's only had this is his third professional first season, full-time men's professional season. So that's the only data we have. So it's not like I can compare it to anything else because that's the level he showed. The most goals he scored at league level is 12. So that's the peak of a Hjlund. So even if United had a good team, that's still the peak of Hjlund. But if we had other attackers where he can come in and out of the team, then it would kind of level out. But I think the manager looks at the bench and he's having to bring on Maino to play as a false 9 or Maguire to play up front or 17-year-old Chido Obi. Like, we don't have any attackers on the bench week in, week out. So that's the only blind.
You sold Rashford. I mean, you got rid of Rashford. That's a decision that the manager made.
That was not him.
It was the club. It's the club's decision.
Yeah,
it's still the club. He still got rid of him.
They did him dirty. They got rid of I mean, I don't really rate Anthony, but Anthony went out the door and Rashford went out the door. That's two attacking bodies who could have played anyway, and he didn't bring in an attacking body. Didn't replace him, even if it was someone on loan or someone for free or something. He's had to. What happens is there's a psychological block with these players because they know they have to play every single week. So regardless of whether they're good or bad, they have to keep on playing. Whereas typically a Garnacho and a Hjlund and a Xerxes would be the ones who are rotated in and out. They wouldn't be automatic starters in previous years because they're not of the required level. And because they're rotated in and out, they would typically have more time to find their way and their worst performances will probably be masked. But the center.
So let me ask you this question. Then let me ask you this question: do you feel if Man United had, say, let's give an example, say not Guardiola, like a Slot or a let's say for argument's sake on Arteta and that, do you think the position would still be the same?
I think we would be a little bit better, but we'd still be struggling because at the end of the day, when your attackers can't put the ball in the net, it's very difficult. I just think it doesn't matter what managers in the driving seat. Don't get me wrong. I do think Amorim has got away with it because he could have identified these players aren't good enough to play how I want to play. I'm going to just do the best to try and either win or not lose rather than just be stubborn. And I think then that almost would have worked in his favor a little bit more because my thing is you're going to sell a project to new players based on this is how I'm going to play. And this, what he's showing, is not good. So I see it, unless you get elite players, how much more can these tactics take you to a new level? You know what I'm saying? Because the way we play, especially in certain games, Relics and Sheikh will probably say this as well, we play with a flat back 5, and that does not translate in top football. You don't go play toe-to-toe with teams at this level with flat back 5 because you're reactive to anything they do. So in my mind, I think he's doing that because he doesn't have the player personnel, and that will change slightly. But at the same time, like that's kind of the product he's selling us. Like this is the state we're in. So it's a tricky one. I think he's getting away with it. I also think because he's a young, handsome man, he also gets a bit more of a blight. I think I'm genuinely talking. If this was Gareth Southgate doing this, there's no way people would allow.
Yeah, that's what.
I'm 100%. Like if you asked all of us on this panel right now before Ten Hag got sacked, do you think Ruben Amorim will do a better job than Ten Hag? I think all of us would have been like, yeah. But the fact that he hasn't is definitely a worrying sign. And this is something that I've been saying for a while, is that I feel like somewhere along the season, Ineos have told him that this season's a wash for you. You don't have to think about all these type of things. It makes sense why they also went into January, only signed a left wing back to salvage the season, and from time and time again told us that we have to become a selling club to buy players. And now we're hearing from David Ornstein that regardless of who we sell, we still have money for Cunha and Delap. So it's one of those type of things where like, I think priorities have shifted from Ineos. They've definitely made him their guy. Like this is the first manager that they have appointed. They told him it was now or never. Maybe because they were scared of the fact that they bullied him, and maybe because they were scared of the fact that he might go to a different club at the end of the season.
He was on for winning a league title. My man could have had silverware this year, And he's left there.
I've been saying this too. Is like, if like I think things could have been different. Let's say if Ruben Amorim was the end goal, where at the end of the season he is the one that we do want to get right. Get in if eventually you're going to get in a manager who's playing a back 3 system, back 5, whatever. Get a different manager as an interim to implement that system with these current crop of players. Then you get that Ruben Amorim in the summer while these players are still equipped with the system. You'll find out along the way who can play in the system, who cannot play in the system. But what we've done is like we've literally just given him we forced him to come. We forced him to come to the club, and we've told him it's now or never. And now we've on top of that, we're telling him that it doesn't really matter what happens that you do in the season because of whatever the situation was prior to this, because of the mistakes that they made. They've accepted that they made the mistake to keep Ten Hag after we won the FA Cup. So all these type of things. Sporting director, they ended up sacking him. Dan Ashford's not even at the club anymore. So it's like it's been a mess. Like it's been an abysmal mess. And to go back to the previous question, we're like, can other managers do better than what Ruben Amorim is doing right now? Yes. But then if we're really thinking about it, 10th place is better than 14th. 9th place is better than 14th. 8th place is better than 14th. Do I think those managers could do 8th or 9th or 10th? Yes, but I think that's the ceiling with this squad. We've seen it last season. Last season, 8th was the ceiling with this squad. We've scored like 57 goals even as an attack last season. And now we've regressed to 38. We're probably not even going to hit 50 at this rate. Look at the last couple of games that we have left to play. So there's been a lot of decisions that he's made too, like in terms of lineups where the Xerxes injury, I didn't really like that. You have Cheetah Obi Martin, who's on the bench, who can't play in the Europa League. But then you're risking these players by playing them in the Premier League. Well, let's be honest, we have nothing to salvage in the Premier League. And that, and some, rotations that he's made in terms of that have been like big question marks on his lineup selections. But like the squad, we know about the squad. The squad, a lot of them need to go, and it's been due time that a lot of these players need to go. And we still have people like Eriksen, who the guy literally had a heart attack a couple of years ago, and he's sitting at more than 100K at this club, and he's been here for a while. And like it's these type of things. Lindelof, like when we signed Lindelof when Mourinho joined, and he's still at the club. So it's like
those two are finally leaving this summer, though. It's been
finally leaving this summer, thank God. But I think what the direction that the club is going through or going to is that they're trying to revamp the squad, and they're trying to get rid of a lot of these players, which makes sense why Rashford was the head of it. Rashford was the first one. Rashford was the one like, okay, this is a big personality in the club. Obviously, the kids love him, all that type of stuff. He sells shirts and all of that. But they made him the head of that movement of getting a lot of these players gone from this club, and that's what they've done. So there's a lot. We have to bank a lot on this summer. Yeah.
I also think, to add to Sheikh's point, that what Amorim hasn't done, what every other manager has done, regardless of whether they've been good or bad, Mourinho, not so much Moyes, but Mourinho, Ten Hag, Van Gaal, even Giggs did it a bit, is identify 2 or 3 young players and bring them into the fold quickly and say, you guys aren't ready, but you're going to be my guys. And Amorim hasn't done that. And I think he's missed a massive trick, and he's almost pushed Maino out instead of really doubling down on that. And I think if he had done that, it would have given him more of a connection with some fans to say, actually, you know what? He's showing the Ineos or the management, the fans, etc., that we need more players, but there's these 3 young players that can be part of it. And obviously now we're seeing Harry Amass a bit, but that's just through happenstance. It's not really, I don't think it's as planned. Whereas with Ten Hag, it was like Garnacho's the first one, and Maino's going to be the next one, and then Collier's going to be the next one. And with Rashford and other players and Greenwood, all these other players have been lined up. I think he hasn't done that, and that's a bit of a worry because that should not be something that he takes on into the future. I think we're actually at a point where the first team squad's not really good. Relics and Sheikh might be able to say, but we've actually got a lot of talented under 21 and under 18 players that he could have easily just gone, I'm going to let you guys show your talent. And with the lineups, he doesn't have to pick a Lindelof. He doesn't have to pick an Eriksen. They're going to leave at the end of the season. He doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to continuously play Hjlund. He can do a Cheeto. I know it's a difficult situation, but there are younger players in there. I won't go through all of them.
He's got to deal with the hand he's been dealt, and he's not really wrestled with that up till now. I don't think particularly. There's still Obviously, a couple minutes left in the show. I just want to make sure that everybody, obviously, we're doing the Guard of Honor settings at this moment in time. Ladies, you have to make sure that you do drop a like on the content, share it, let people know that these fine gentlemen have given us Liverpool creators our Guard of Honor. Just quickly before I let Potts go, Potts, big up yourself, man. You consistently put out some of the best content on YouTube from a football fan creator perspective. 12-man podcast. What's your weekend looking like before you jet out for tonight?
My weekend's going to be chill, bro, because we're at the FA Cup. So I'm going to look forward to having a couple of days chilling out. I'll be putting out content, of course, on 12th Man. So big up for having me. And then Monday morning, the nerves will start because it's going to be a mad week. Tuesday is the guy. Tuesday's the day.
Yeah, and this was my last question for you then before you go, Potts. Is this now make or break for Mikel Arteta? Semi-finals dumped out, not going to be good enough. Getting to a final dumped. Does he have to bring home this Champions League this year?
He does, bro. He does. There's a lot of Arsenal fans said that he had to win a trophy or he's got to go this season. Now they're moving the goalposts a bit because they don't actually want him to go. Whereas for me, it's been 5 years, 750 mil. It's got to be delivering now for me. A lot of people aren't the same as me, and that's calm. Everyone's got their different opinions of the manager and where we should be as a club. I don't want to be second best. I didn't wait in no process in 21 years of not having a Premier League to try and give it more time and buy dogs and hold light bulbs in my hand, man. I want to go and win stuff. So for me, it's got to be a Champions League or bust.
Well, if no Arteta, then who?
Say again?
If there's no Arteta, then who comes in to replace?
Then we just shut down the club and fold because there's no one else apparently. So we're done. Knock down the stadium and then build another one because the fans are going to be so devastated they'll have a funeral. So for me, he might be a great coach in a few years' time. Do you know what? He is a good coach. I can't even deny that. He's been brilliant. I think he deserves praise to get us challenging. But I want to win, man. I don't want to be challenging. I was already challenging and getting Champions League 20 years in a row with Wenger, and he got sacked and we handed him out. So I don't know why we accepting this second best stuff. For me, why did we march down Hornsey Road when we were coming second to Leicester? Now we're coming second again, and now we're supposed to be bowing down, going, how are we doing this? It's miracles. It's not miracles, man. We should have won stuff by now. If it's not a Premier League, you should have won trophies by now. So it's got to be a Champions League. If he does go, I mean, he's not going to go. People keep saying to me, what if he got? He's not going to go, man. He's here for at least another 3 years, in my opinion. So who would I get? I would take Diego Simeone, Simone Inzaghi, Carlo Ancelotti, CVs that say I win. None of this, up and coming.
I'm not going to enjoy half those names you just mentioned.
What would if it meant there was silverware?
If I win, I would.
Yeah.
Man, brother, I grew up on George Graham. It was the most boring football ever. We won loads. I didn't care when Anfield 89. I didn't go, it's a shame we won the league by winning 1-0 every game. I was like doing that. So, look, man, everybody wants attractive football to win it. That's why everyone appreciated Klopp and Pep and Arsene Wenger, right? Because you win it by playing beautiful football. I really don't care, to be honest. That's the dream. If it was either we play attractive football and come second, or we play under Conte and win 1-0 and win a league, give me the trophies, man. Give me the trophies. That's what it's about for me. It's not about being beautiful in the eye and winning nothing. Otherwise, Liverpool would still have Brendan Rodgers. So, for me, it's about winning. And Liverpool needed to get rid of Brendan and get Klopp in. Yeah, Claudio Ranieri did pretty good at Chelsea, but he didn't do what Mourinho did at Chelsea. Yeah, and then you've got Mancini at Manchester City, Pellegrini at Manchester City were doing good, but then Pep come in. I think it's time now for us to go and get that CV guy, and unless, of course, he can win it. If he goes and wins the Champions League and delivers me a trophy, he shuts people like me up, doesn't he? And says, yeah, have that. This is what we want.
Yeah, but even Tuchel won the Champions League and then, left the next season with Chelsea. So I'm just thinking, right, like, even if he does do it, like, is that still on the cards? Because obviously we've seen it before at Chelsea. I mean, obviously Chelsea had a bit of a.
He'd stay.
You know
He'd get a
what I mean?
lifetime contract, lad. He'd get a
He
lifetime
would.
contract.
He wouldn't be
Yeah.
going anywhere, man.
He wouldn't be
Trust me.
going anywhere.
He's not going anywhere as it goes.
I think he still
if they
stays,
win.
even if they don't win. Yeah,
Pots,
he still
He's
stays.
staying.
Let people know where they can find your content, brother.
Legend, man. Big up to everybody on the panel. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to you, Errol. Dan Arsenal 87 on socials and Football's 12th Man on YouTube. Come give us a follow, man. Would love that.
100%, bro. Thank you for joining us.
Come
Enjoy
on.
the rest
Have
of
a
your
good night.
weekend as well.
Have a good
Thank
night,
you.
boys. In a bit.
Love,
In a bit.
bro.
There you go.
Closing
Take care,
questions for the panel, and you can give me yes or no's how you feel. Is Arne Slot the manager of the season? Yes. Or no?
No,
I mean,
absolutely.
anyone who wins the
I say yes.
league has to
No,
be.
he's
But
not.
Yeah, truthfully, no.
No, he's not
my
having
shout
it.
out to Nuno, because if Nottingham Forest get Champions League, then Nuno.
Yeah, it's Nuno.
That's
Definitely.
but it has to be Slot because he wins the league first season as well.
No,
Has
I
to be
didn't.
Slot.
No, the manager who wins the league is manager of the
No,
manager of the year.
it's not. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I don't know. I don't give a fuck.
So how do you decide?
Yeah,
How do you decide it then? Do you decide it with who wins it, or do you decide it in terms of progress? Which one is big? Which one's better? To
Who
you?
wins it? The best doesn't matter. Progress is. Who the fuck's asked about progress? Fuck that. It's not manager of the month. It's manager of the season. The manager of the season is the manager who won it. The manager who won it is Arne Slot. That's all it is.
We don't take it away from it.
I hear
The
that
fact that
too.
it's his first season, I think if it was like
Yeah,
3 seasons,
No signings either. Like
no
any massive
signings. If
Yeah,
he was 3
Yeah.
seasons in with
I
his
mean,
squad of
like-
players and he won it twice already, maybe if Nuno was doing what Nuno was doing, he'd probably look elsewhere to say, let's scan about and let me just check
Exactly.
their ears. But
Has Slot done a better job than what Nuno has done? Has Slot done a better job at Liverpool than
because
what
he's
Nuno
won
has
the-
done?
he's about
Yeah,
to
yeah,
win
yeah,
the league.
yeah.
I get what you're saying though. I get what you're
He's
saying.
about to win the
Like I
league.
hear you.
There's no way.
Like Nuno's a
Come
shout
on.
for sure because nobody
No
had
way, no way.
Forest finishing where they were finishing either. And obviously
Nuno's done
Nuno
a
with
better job at
Spurs and
Nottingham
stuff as
Forest
well.
than Slot has at Liverpool.
You're lying. You're
No, I
lying.
disagree.
Definitely.
Yeah.
No. He's won the league.
Yeah.
He's won the league.
Definitely.
He's won the league.
Definitely.
Nah.
No way.
Won the league when no
Not
one had
really.
them winning the league.
Nuno
So-
can still finish 6th, and they don't
No
even
way.
get Champions
Liverpool.
League.
He's lost 2
Liverpool
games all
put
season. You know
out of
that?
the top 4 by the majority of BBC pundits before the start of the season, and he's gone from being put out of the top 4 at the start of the season to being told that it's an embarrassing season because we only won the Prem. Do you not understand how
Nottingham Forest
how good of a
potentially getting
season Slot
Champions
had?
League. If Nottingham Forest get Champions League, he wins Manager of the Year easily.
Nah,
It's not even
Alright.
close. It's not even
All
close.
Well, do you know what?
not even
on
close.
that,
Is
on
outrageous,
that
man.
bombshell, I'm gonna let the chat and the comments pick up where we leave off there, and they can debate whether Slot or Nuno deserve to be manager of the season. Ray, Lex, I didn't get yours. Does he deserve it or not?
Slot deserves it 100%. Liverpool finished third last season, and he's taken them to first. And also, Arsenal were the team. Like everybody thought that Arsenal were the team that would, if City weren't going to win it, Arsenal were primed to go and take that jump. But Slot had just come in and absolutely blown them out of the water. It has to be him, 100%.
Top man. Well, lads, big yourselves up. Thank you very much. You're all very humble brothers. I appreciate your time as always. We are about to start getting into celebratory settings. Teza, you might want to jump on a train up to you get yourself away for the weekend, Arkin. Can't wait. It's about to get peak for you. But big yourselves up. Let us know.
I'll
when
move out this for a good week.
Go on holiday. Book another holiday, lad.
I will, man.
And then wait there. Listen, I get out the city for a week. And then when the 25th comes, I get out the city again for another week.
I'm actually out the city on the 25th, so
He's already got that long book. He's had that book since Christmas. But no, let us know. Sheik, thank you very much for giving us your time this evening, brother. I do appreciate it. I hope you're having a great day over stateside. Let us know what you've got going on, what kind of content you're doing, where people can find it, please.
Yeah, thank you, of course, for having me on the channel for the first time too. Shout out to the panel, shout out to Dan Potts, of course, who left, and yeah, thank you, Errol, for having me on. You guys can find me on Sheik TV, United fan, of course, all United content. So road to 1K, about to get there soon. So yeah, if you guys could help out, that would be great. But Sheik TV, I do streams every week, United content throughout. So yeah, you Liverpool fans are probably gonna you're gonna love this. So you guys can, give all
Come
that smoke and
it.
stuff on my channel. Come crash it on the channel as well. So yeah.
But
yeah, thank you so much for having me on, and shout out to the panel.
We'll have you back as well, definitely. Greg, what's your weekend looking like, Arkin?
My weekend, oh my god, nah, don't even get me started. Wait, don't even get me started. Don't even get. Oh, lad, we bottle of champagne downstairs. Lad, it's in the fridge.
He's not even prepared. He's not even prepared. That's what I'm saying. He's not even prepared.
Go, quick. Relax.
This ain't serious. This ain't real celebration, bruv. This ain't serious.
Oh, man.
Errol, who you bringing me on the stream with, bruv? That's what I'm saying. That should be local, bro.
Yeah. Talk to me, Relax. Tell us what you got going on this weekend, what content you're pumping out.
Yeah, not much. Probably gonna go on my TikTok. My TikTok's all for Relax. So anyone who wants to go on there, my Twitter is J's Relax. The one thing I won't be watching is if Liverpool win that title that got that Liverpool game against Tottenham, because I know you're just gonna watch them. So yeah. But yeah, not much. Big up the panel.
What champagne is it though? What champagne is it though? I need to know what champagne it is, man.
Is it Verve?
Nice
Prosecco.
Bubbles. Got some bubbles. I hold that for a second.
Man. Listen, we keep it classy. Yeah, we keep it classy.
Yeah, it's not bad. At least you had it. I thought you were gonna come back empty-handed.
Nah, man. Stay in the fridge, waiting.
It's been there. It's ready. Been ready.
Not bad.
Okay, tell us what you got going on. Are you doing your other stream tonight?
Yeah, we've got Trench Talks tonight, 10 p.m.
Tell people about Trench Talks, bro. Let people know.
It's just chaotic. The man, them certain man from outside of streams as well. Just bring them on 10 p.m. It started off with if you talk football, you have to do a shot. That's how it started, but then it just turned into just man, them just vibing, just bear of us, and we do a quiz at the end as well. We do a quiz now. It's chaos, bro. Over there is just madness. You know that channel, like channels are like your house, and it like each person's channel is like kind of like how they kind of like operate it. Our house is just the man them, fam. You just come over here and just come and chill out, fam, and just do what you got the man them do. You know what I'm saying? That's all.
10 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, 10 p.m. tonight. I'm gonna get you on this soon. I'm gonna get you trenching soon, bro.
Come on.
When you're ready, bro. When any of you are ready, I'll get you lot trenching, bro. And then you'll see it's a big quiz. It gets mad. The quiz gets nuts.
Say less. Look forward to it. Make sure you lock in, people. Tez, big up. Thank you again, bro. You're always a good sport. Always love. Talk to people. Let them know what you're up to.
Yeah, this weekend not much. Hopefully on Sunday I won't be in Liverpool. I'm not watching that game.
Find the motive. Go find the motive, bro.
I will. My Twitter's just TZSKII. I ain't got really much football content on my own, but I am on the Friday show regularly for the Anfield Wrap as well. So there's an episode that came out today. I'll be on it next week as well. And then into the summer when the transfers and stuff, that's when I'll start pushing out more stuff.
Good stuff. Well, lads, thank you very much for joining us. This has been the Red Cartel. This has been another list show. Liverpool about to lift up 20. Greg's about to pop the champs. Oi, I'm ready for this, I am ready. The unbearable settings can start to come back. Oh, yeah. We're going to be crashing it. We're going to be crashing it come next week on a couple of head tops.
You guys do know, come next week, every single thing that's said, I'm literally going to reply saying, we won the league. That's literally, okay. Literally, like, you could be having a genuine conversation about anything, and I'll just go, by the way, guys, I'm just saying, Liverpool are on 20 league titles. Yeah, and it's crazy. Like, I'm at any given moment.
We say Tourette's. We say Tourette's.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Standard. Well, on that note, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you do drop a like on the stream on your way out. Do the housekeeping. We'll keep giving you the content in front of the screen. You keep building the community behind it. That's the vibes. That's the energy. Liverpool on the road to 20, and we will see you again next week. Over and out.
Peace.